need to be evaluated. They need to be compared in terms of the breadth of their immunity, their durability of immunity compared to the RNA vaccines. Time will tell, but it would be nice to have a more durable vaccine than offered by the RNA vaccine in terms of prevention of infection. If we could make that a bit longer living, that would be wonderful.
What's the demand been like for the fourth booster, and would you like to see it better? I mean, I haven't heard that there are lots of people calling up and looking for an appointment.
Right. So I think the fourth booster makes a lot of sense for a subset of people. People who are older than 60, people who have pre-existing medical conditions that put them at higher risk. Because our immune system, people that are older and with these conditions, their immune system is not as vigorous. And so they may not have quite the same protection from severe illness and death. And that's why it's important to to keep that immune system tip-top by getting the fourth shot.
Doctor,
I certainly myself have done that already.
Oh, you've already had the fourth shot. Okay.
Yes.
One issue we've heard since the very beginning, the first time any of the public heard the term COVID, was the underreporting of disease cases, and I guess that remains a problem 2 years later.
Yes, that's for sure. Now, particularly with a lot of home testing, people make their diagnosis at home, and never the public health service never finds out about those positivities. There's also been a severe underreporting of deaths associated with this virus. The Economist has actually done an interesting study, and they suggest that rather than 6.2 million people dying from this virus, that based on excess mortality studies, that up to about 20.7 million people have died of this virus worldwide. So I think there's an undercounting, an under-attribution to COVID as causes of death over the last 2 years for sure.
Holy moly, that's a big range. And if you can't trust the numbers that are being reported, for instance, case numbers, how can you sufficiently make a decision on the protection for yourself? Like if I'm gonna go to a destination and I want to look at what the case numbers are there, I don't know really what the positivity rate is.
Right. There is surveillance testing, but we certainly do not know the total number of infections that are occurring within an area, because again, there's been such a movement to home testing now rather than centralized testing by PCR, for example.
Here's an interesting.
So our data is just less robust at the moment.
Here's an interesting listener question. When we hear about these new variants, they always seem to be coming from another country. Why is that? Why do they seem to incubate someplace else and then come to the U.S.?
Well, perhaps it's not that they're coming from another country, but they're being detected in other countries more rapidly than in the U.S. I would remind you that we've sustained a higher level of fatalities from this virus than any other country in the world. There is a lot of virus in the United States, and a lot of virus translates to a lot of variants. So yes, the South African, the Omicron coming out of there, the Alpha variant out of the UK, yes, these viruses are recognized elsewhere, but I wouldn't be at all surprised, and it was the case with Omicron, that it was in the United States first.
We're speaking with Dr. Werner Green, Senior Investigator at the Gladstone Institutes and Professor of Medicine at UCSF. If you have a question, email us now. Ask us at kcbsradio.com. Here's a listener question. I am in my 70s and planning a trip to Europe in July. Would it be best for me to get the fourth shot now or wait until closer to my trip?
Oh, I would get the fourth shot in July. Okay, yes, I would get the fourth shot now, making sure that the immune system is primed. It will last for at least 4 months. You'll get a boost in terms of antibodies against the variants. So I would proceed now.
What are the side effects of the fourth shot compared to the previous shots?
So I think you can expect a reaction that's similar to your first booster, although I have to say I had no reaction whatsoever, and I shifted from Pfizer to Moderna. I expected to have a little bit more reaction, but did not. But I think the general rule of thumb is that what happened during the third booster is likely to happen during the fourth booster.
Seems a lot of people are traveling this summer, or at least planning to travel. Would you do that?
Would I get boosted?
Would you travel? You've already been boosted.
Yes.
Would you feel okay going to Europe, London?
Yes, I've re-engaged with airplanes and then traveling again, although I'm not making any unnecessary, unnecessary trips. I go on important trips. And I would feel comfortable traveling internationally as well.
So,
because I'm totally boosted. The airlines I feel are pretty safe. I think it's the airport that's less safe than the airplane itself.
I was going to say, so you're okay with the FAA still requiring masks on planes, at least for the time being?
Yeah, I do. I think that I wouldn't be surprised that in the next month to 6 weeks that requirement is dropped.
Well, they did extend it, until May 1st, I think. But I know a lot of people.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, I know a lot of people feel like, well, I'm going to keep my mask on anyway.
I think that is true in certain parts of the country, and I think masks were quite effectively abandoned in other parts of the country a year ago. So I think it's highly variable in terms of in your surrounding, how much masking is occurring. Of course, it's a requirement on the airlines, but we've also seen the kind of altercations on airlines that the masking requirement has elicited.
Have indeed, and at least anecdotally, I can vouch for what you said about other parts of the country giving up masks a year ago. As a Midwesterner, recovering Midwesterner, when I go back to visit, you see a lot of people not masking up and sort of defiant about it as well.
Yes, it's become a political issue rather than a biomedical issue.
And that must be incredibly frustrating for people who are in science.
Yes, this pandemic is something that should have brought our country together to face a common threat. But it divided us right down the middle again, and that is extremely disappointing.
Dr. Warner Green, thanks for your time. Dr. Warner Green is Senior Investigator of the Gladstone Institutes and Professor of Medicine and Microbiology, Immunology at UCSF. You can listen to the entire interview at our website, kcbsradio.com, or any of our previous Ask an Expert interviews. That's kcbsradio.com/askAnExpert. 9:36 at KCBS. We'll check your drive with Kim Wonderly in 2 minutes.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, Viagra is not the answer for your problem. I know you think it is, but Viagra has horrible side effects, and for most men, the longer you're on it, the less it works. Viagra is not a curative medication. It's not fixing your problem. It's a Band-Aid for a shark bite. Acoustic wave therapy is the newest technology that can correct your problem, not just treat it. We can do something that no pill can do. We can restore your blood flow naturally. Get off Viagra today. Change your life like the thousands of men who already have, regardless of your age or your medical history. If you're tired of dealing with Peyronie's disease or erectile dysfunction, then call West Coast Men's Health today.
With offices in San Mateo and Sacramento, call 650-407-1168. That's 650-407-1168. 650-407-1168. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome. A Honda is more than just a vehicle. It's a gateway to spring adventure. Start your adventures with Honda. The brand owners are calling the most fun to drive. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on a 2022 Honda HR-V and a 1.9% APR on a 2022 Civic or Accord. New vehicles are arriving daily at a local Honda. Start your spring adventure today at your Northern California Honda dealer.
See dealer for financing details. Includes Civic SI 2021 ACSI survey of customers rating the performance of their own automobiles.
Very few things are impossible.
I have something that's impossible.
Okay, tell it.
Having a big event and not creating a pile of junk. Oh, I get it. All I have to do is sign it. Jump in a party, celebration, or holidays.
Jump from moving in or from moving out of a new place.
You make junk disappear.
Call US
Bitcoin. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com. From Terracotta to glass aluminum doors, R&S doors to the full line. Doors and gates to suit anyone's taste and budget. Visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
At 9:38, we check your traffic with Kim Wonderland. He's in your local Honda dealer stock.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at traffic trying to get through the Castro Valley Y, as we call it, westbound 580 at 238. And this report brought to you by iLoveRevive.com. DSC is talking about traffic breaks right at that spot heading out towards Redwood Road. And that's to remove some debris or a car. I'm not sure, but I do see some slow traffic here on westbound 238, right as you come aboard from 580 heading out toward the East 14th area. So there may be some disruption in traffic, but it looks like it might just be momentary. Southbound 880 is still heavy from 238 down toward A Street here. Then it clears up. Bay Bridge is fine. Here you get off the west end, you see some slowing approaching Fremont Street, and then across the Skyway out to 101. And there's been a problem on the Treasure Island off-ramp from the lower deck of the Bay Bridge. Is a crash that's actually on Treasure Island, and they've been working to remove this for some time, but it looks like I can see everything on the Avenue of the Palms. It's very congested indeed, so I don't think we're clear yet, but it's just pulling traffic a little bit lower deck on your approach to the tunnels. Now, if you're thinking about selling your home, don't settle. Renovate your home in weeks, not months, and maximize its sales value with Revive. They'll fund all the money for the upgrades, and all the profits from the final sales will be yours. Visit iLoveRevive.com to learn more. That's iLoveRevive.com. Your next update, 9:48 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
So that should develop in the afternoon or early evening in North Bay, then again moving south. Out from low 60s to low 70s bayside in England, North Bay at the 50s at the coast. Very likely tonight with dense fog after midnight. Low to the 50s tomorrow, partly cloudy in the afternoon after morning fog and rain. High chance of rain in the afternoon as well. Cooler, high from 50s and 60s. Best chance of rain coming on Thursday. Traffic and weather together on States on KCBS.
Hi, this is Kim Vestal. You know, if you're thinking about replacing the windows in your second home, you don't want to be stuck with a bad installation. Here to tell you more is the one and only potato chip guy, Aaron, the founder of California Deluxe Windows. Thanks for having me. So, Aaron, I'm sure a lot of listeners have second houses. Do you have any advice for them if they're thinking about installing new windows?
It doesn't matter how nice the window is if it isn't installed correctly. Ever notice when your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and mismatched paint left around them. We call it ring around the window.
I know, I see that all the time. They get new windows and their homes actually look worse.
We never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California that custom to your home's exact measurements.
Doesn't every window company make their own products?
No, they don't. Almost everyone else in California is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open the wall, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, each window is custom made specifically for your home in our factory. We take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Really? Are your windows affordable?
You will be surprised at how affordable they are, because they are designed, manufactured, and installed all by the same people. No one else in California can say that.
And I hear you're offering a special deal for our listeners. Click on this on right now, and Aaron will give you 20% off your entire order and 18 months of interest-free financing.
But you have to call right now.
You heard him. Don't miss out on this amazing offer. Call California Deluxe Windows right now at 800-918-5100. 800-918-5100. 800-918-5100.